Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ontario Cryptids. First off, thank you for everyone who keeps on subscribing to my channel. I truly appreciate it. And thanks for all of those who keep on commenting. I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait to see what's going to happen come Monday. Hopefully here in the Big TO, we will have a little bit more restrictions lifted and things will be, opening back up again. Hopefully. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I know spring is right around the corner because I'm starting to see some beautiful birds returning back to my backyard as they head south. Anyways, so that just means warmer weather, and hopefully we'll all be able to get outside and do more exciting stuff like go for hikes, etc. So today I will be sharing 3 stories with you all, and I hope you all enjoy them. They come from all across North America. So guys, go grab yourself a beverage and let's get cozy on the couch and chair and sit back and relax. All right, first story takes place January 28th of 2021, and this occurs in Okaloosa County, Florida. I hope I said that right. This is an approximation of where it occurred, and it seems to be pretty level country, but lots of little bushes and trees. I went on an afternoon hike and decided to stop at the clear cut where big power lines are to see if I could see a deer or something. I jumped up numerous turkeys and deer while hiking. So I parked the car, rolled down the windows, shut the car off, and just listened and watched. Not even 10 minutes goes by, and this large black thing just starts walking across the open all the way to the other side. I get out of the car to get a closer look to see it. Soon as I do that, it sees me, then steps into the tree line. I hurried back to my car and watched from the cab. I called an individual on the phone while I'm still watching it. At first, before I started recording, I noticed it, and for a second I thought a hiker or a hunter. But its posture and how it moved didn't look right. To me, it looked hunched over or like its shoulders were rolled forward. I showed a buddy the video clip I took, and he agrees with me, so I don't know. I also found a dismantled deer very close by. The head was missing, front legs were ripped off, and there was a document sighting on the BFRO about a mile or so from here. I have a video of the subject and photos of the deer. I was very close to the Shoal River, thick tie-dye swamp very close by. Okay, I'm not sure what he means by thick tie-dye swamp. If you guys know what that means, let me know, because I have no idea what that means. As soon as I see tie-dye, I'm thinking of a, tie-dye t-shirt. But interesting, that this is in like a clear-cut power line area, and this thing is blatantly walking right across the opening. I guess it wasn't expecting to see anybody there. So interesting story. Now let's move on to story number 2. All right, this next story takes place September or October of 2002, and it takes place in Niagara County, New York. The closest area would be the Erie Canal or Mountain Road. And it says here that it takes place at around 7 p.m. All right, so let's get right to it here. I stopped at a working stone quarry area that I had been to on many other occasions to spot for deer. As I stepped out of my truck to look into the very large field the deer are normally in, I immediately saw what I initially thought was a girl with very long hair, cascaded off the head, and at the considerable distance appeared initially as far below as the waist, moving very rapidly through the waist-high field grass, covering what I estimated at around 75 yards in certainly less than 15 seconds. As I looked back, I believe I was looking at the full body hair and not just hair flowing from the head. As the figure continued on to my right at approximately 225 yards away, I noticed that it didn't seem to have any clothing on that I could see. And as the biped moved into shorter grass and moved slightly away from me and crossing a tractor path, I could see or make out what I thought were gluteal cheeks, and at the same time realized that the whole body was the same color as the head and upper torso. This biped moved very rapidly through the rocky terrain along the far edge of a huge quarry, and at the same time did not appear to be running at any time, but moved gracefully and smoothly with no apparent arm swinging that I could see. It moved quickly into a field of corn, and I did not see it again despite scanning for another 10 minutes. It is my belief that I did in fact witness a hairy bipedal animal, and since that time I have spent considerable time in and around the general area to spot and look for signs of some type. I have spent all my life in the outdoors as an avid hunter and camper and know what I saw, and realize that not many people have had the privilege to witness. I will continue to look forward to finding and hopefully seeing another Bigfoot, as I have been told by others that there was another sighting last year by multiple people at another quarry about 4 miles to the east at another working stone quarry. That information confirmed my sighting for me, as a certain amount of self-doubt manifests after such an incident. I am a Native American and aware of the many legends of the First Nations of long ago, and consider this a sign that I must carefully consider. The area had a stone quarry with a very large rock along the edge of basin, and large rock piles all around a rim, with tall field grass and large fields behind with farmland surrounding the area. A large pine forest plot lies directly behind a quarry, and large wooded areas of considerable distance east and west. A large cornfield was to the right of the rock rim, and the creature moved directly into 7-foot-tall corn stalks and was not seen again. The creature had dark hair covering the entire upper torso, and head appeared to be dark but not black. At the time, the sun was directly in front of the creature and seemed to lighten its appearance, but the hair was very dark. As I stated, at no time did I notice any arms or swinging hand movement while it traveled very quickly, and I noticed immediately that that was very odd. At the distance it was from me, I never made out any facial features because it never looked my way, nor could I differentiate between hair or skin color except when it moved slightly to its left and away from me. I noticed a lighter color in the guttural area, and no time did I see legs or even movements of legs due to the height of the grass it moved through. Its fluid movement at such a high rate of speed was surreal. A human would have to be running, and considerable arm movement would have been evident. There have been, and I have since found, several sightings of a Bigfoot-type creature in the western New York area, and covered a long time period of somewhat consistent sighting incidents. I hope that this sighting will not be the last, and I hope also to get a video or a picture of another hairy biped. All right, so I don't know if I would want to necessarily try and capture a Bigfoot or Sasquatch on film or camera, because I don't know if I really want to get that up and close and personal with one of these wild people that live in the forest. But anyways, great story, and I really enjoyed this one. All right, let's move on to the last story of the day. So this story takes place in the springtime. It was April of 2011 in the Sedgwick County of Kansas. And again, this takes place near a river, Neniska River. So let's get right into this one. I never gave much thought to Bigfoot, especially living in Kansas. I have heard of stories when I was a kid. I was out for a walk by myself on a nice spring day, enjoying nature and getting some peace and quiet away from my children. I like to walk down to the Neniska River, so I went to the closest bridge by our house. I walk quietly so I can hear everything around me. I practice listening to everything and using all my senses when I walk. I got to the edge of the bridge at the river and stopped as I saw a figure squatting down at the edge of the river. At first, I thought it was a homeless person or local, but then I noticed that they were covered in hair. So then I wondered why someone would be dressed in a Bigfoot costume at this remote area by the river. Then I looked around to see if there was anyone else filming or trying to pull a hoax or something. You never know what the teenagers will do these days. There was no one, and that's when I started noticing other details that pointed to the reality of the situation. The Bigfoot was breaking up mussels or clams or whatever and then eating them, which made me think, who would eat that raw from the dirty river where there's trash laying around? That's when it fully dawned on me that that was not a human. It was covered in brown hair or fur. It was squatting with its back towards me the whole time. It never looked back at me, and I didn't move until I turned and left to go home to try and get my phone to take a picture. It was dark by the time I got home, and there was nothing there when I got back. But it just kept opening up mussels and eating them, and it would hit them on the rocks to break them open. It had long arms and it squatted flat-footed, which I thought would be a difficult position to hold, as I squat with my heels up off the ground. Its hands were shaped more like a human's hand, but the color was darker and the texture was kind of like a gorilla or ape's hand. I couldn't say for sure how tall it was, but it seemed younger, probably 6 foot or 7 foot tall. But I'd have to have someone help me determine how big it really was. When I came back, I didn't want to get down in the area because there are snakes around here. I couldn't believe what I had seen and didn't tell anyone, not even my family, because this is Kansas. I did make them squat to see if they did it flat-footed. Ha! I also take them to the river whenever we go for walks. I tried to get my husband to go for walks with me so maybe he would see one too, but he wouldn't go for any walks. After the Finding Bigfoot show aired, I told my family about what I saw. Now he might go for a walk with me. I didn't think about reporting this to the BFRO site until Finding Bigfoot came to the very river I saw one at. I saw it and I still can't believe it. Why would anyone else believe it? I remember watching the Finding Bigfoot show all the time, and I always wondered why they always did their shows at nighttime. Well, I shouldn't say their shows, but when they actually went hunting for Bigfoot, it was always at night. And that didn't make any sense to me because most sightings take place either early morning or normally it takes place in like late afternoon. There's a time, I don't know what you call that time. Photographers has a name for like early dawn or when the sun is setting. Anyways, that's about the time frame that most of them are seen. Like, who is ever out walking around in the forest around midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning? So I never understood why they did their show at that specific time when they did their hunts, so to speak. But in any case, interesting story. It would appear to me that, yeah, she saw a Bigfoot eating clams by the river. And also interesting that there had to have been another reporting in that area if the Finding Bigfoot folks did air the show along that same river. So any case, yeah, great stories. If these stories reminded you of an encounter you may have had and you would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com, and I would be more than happy to share your story on this channel. So that will wrap up this week's encounter stories. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a fantastic Sunday, and we will see you all next week.